Let me welcome you to Medzone African Motives. Let me welcome you to Medzone African Motives. In today's presentation, I want us to look at Business Studies Grade 12, Term 2 revision. So we are revising for the Term 2 revision that we are going to write. So this is paper 1. That is paper 1. So we are going to prepare ourselves with the question paper that was written in May, June 2025. So like I've said, this is Business Studies paper 1, that is grade 12. So that is that, good people. Allow me to go to instructions and information. So here we are on instructions and information. So instructions are very important, very important. Don't make any mistake of attending to any question before you can go through the instructions. But right now, for the sake of time, good people, allow me to go straight to the question. 1, section A. So here we are on section A, which is a compulsory question. And we have said this is question 1. So 1.1, various options are provided as possible answers to the following questions. Choose the answer and write only letter A to D next to the question numbers. That is 1.1.1 to 1.1.5 in the answer book. So we are given this example 1.1.6D. So that is done. So now let us get to our questions. As now it says, this act encourages business to invest in education and training of South African workforce. So we are given these 4 options and we are to choose the correct answer. As we have Employment Equity Act, Skills Development Act, Basic Conditions of Employment Act, Labor Relations Act. So the correct answer there is B, Skills Development Act. Skills Development Act. We know very well that Skills Development Act encourages business to invest in education, training, and skills development of employees to improve the South African workforce. So that is that. So let us move on to 1.1.2. 1.1.2 says, Jericho Carpets opened a new branch in another province to distribute their carpets. So this type of intensive strategy is known as A, product development, B, product modification, B, market penetration, and D, market development. The correct answer is D, market development. So when you talk of market development, that is whereby we can say market development occurs when a business expands into new geographical areas or markets. So opening a branch in another province is an example of market development. Like we are saying, Jericho Carpets opened a new branch in another province. That is market development. So let us move on to 1.1.3. 1.1.3 says Amanda Distributors has no control over challenges posed by dash environment. A, we have macro, B, micro, C, market, as D, micro and market. So the correct answer there is macro environment. It's macro environment. Because macro environment has no control over the macro environment because it includes external factors such as legislation, economic conditions, technology. So the business has no control over those factors. The business cannot control or stand in a way of technology. They cannot stop the technology to take place. They cannot as well stop what? The laws, new laws that are coming. So that is that. Now let us move on with people and be on to 1.1.4. 1.1.4 says the purpose of an interview is to dash to book and prepare the venue, invite possible candidates to apply for vacancy, determine candidates' suitability for the job, prepare responses for possible questions. So the correct answer there is C, determine the candidate's suitability for the job. So that is that. The main purpose of interviews to assess whether a candidate has the skills, knowledge, and qualities required for the position. So that is that, good people. Now let us move on to 1.1.5. 5. As it says, Aziza Manufacturing Ltd uses dash to reduce the cost of redundancy in the long run. So we have quality performance, quality management, quality management system, quality management, and the quality cycle. The correct answer is quality cycles. So that is that, good people. Now let us move on to 1.2. Let us move on to 1.2. So here we are on 1.2. 1.2 is as follows. Complete the following statement by using the words provided in the list below. Write only the words next to the question number 1.21 to 1.25 in the answer book. So these are the words that we are going to use to fill in the missing ones. So 1.21, an employee is entitled to 10 consecutive days of leave after a birth of his or a child. So that is parental. An employee is entitled to 10 consecutive days of parental leave after the birth of his or a child. So we are saying parental is the correct word to use there. 1.21, parental. So we are going to say parental. That is that we know that an employee is entitled to 10 consecutive days of parental leave after the birth of a child. So that is that parental. 1.22, Ranza Furniture applied their vertical integration strategy when they took over Green Timber. That is, the Green Timber is their wood supplier. So it's their wood supplier, meaning the business now is taking over the suppliers. So what is that strategy? The strategy is a backward strategy. It's what? Backward strategy. So meaning to say 1.22. That is the correct answer. Backward vertical integration strategy. So backward integration strategy occurs when a business takes or control or acquires its supplier. As Ranzo Furniture did with Green Timber. They acquire their supplier. The supplier of Ranzo Furniture is Green Timber. So they acquire that supplier. So it means now they take control of what? Of the suppliers. So they merged with that supplier. So that is a backward vertical integration strategy. So that is that. Now let us move on to 1.23. 1.23 says the productivity of Lucas Engineering has improved due to the employment of qualified engineers. This is a dash in complying a SWOT analysis. The productivity of Lucas Engineering has improved. Their productivity has improved due to employment of quality engineers. So this shows that is the strength of that organization. That is their strength. That their strength is that they have competent employees because they are with qualified engineers with necessary skills to do the work. So that happens within what? Within the organization. And that is what? A strength. So that is that. The correct term there is strength. 1.23 is strength. So we are going to write here strength. So as we know that qualified engineers improve productivity, which is an internal positive factor, and therefore a strength in a SWOT analysis. A strength in a SWOT analysis. So that is that. The correct answer there is strength. Let us move on to 1.24. The DASH Act has implications of the human resource function as it ensures that affirmative action measures are correctly implemented. So here, the correct word there is employment equity. Is what? Employment equity. That is 1.24. Why am I saying it's employment equity? Is that the employment equity ensures affirmative action measures are properly implemented in the workplace. So that is that. So we are saying it's employment equity. Employment equity. So that is that. Now 1.25, a grey water system implements this to ensure that all the required standards are met at every stage of the production process. So the correct word to use there is quality assurance. It's quality assurance. That is 1.25. It's quality assurance. Quality assurance ensures that quality standards are maintained throughout every stage of the production process. So that is that with people. Let us move on to 1.3. We are on 1.3, whereby now we are on a matching question. As it says, choose the description from column B that matches a term in column A and write only letter A to J next to the question number 1.31 to 1.35 in the answer book. For example, 1.36K. So here is our column A, here is our column B. So column A, these are terms, column B, description. So we're going to look at the description that matches what? Terms in column A. So 1.31, we're talking about National Credit Act. So now we're going to look at the description that matches what? National Credit Act. National Credit Act. So now you can see that C is the correct answer. C is the correct answer because National Credit Act protects both lenders and borrowers from negligent lending practices. Meaning to say, National Credit Act protects lenders and borrowers from reckless or negligent lending practices. So that is what we are saying is a correct answer. Then 1.32, we have Pestel analysis. Pestel analysis. So with Pestel, like we did in one with National Credit Act, you're going to look at the description that do match Pestel analysis. And you can see now G is a correct answer. G is a correct answer. As he said, this Pestel analysis is a tool used to evaluate the challenges posed by the macro environment. That is that, as we are saying, G is a correct answer. G is a correct answer. Pestel analysis evaluates challenges and factors in the microenvironment. That is when we talk about political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environment. So that is that when you are saying it evaluates challenges or factors in the macro environment. Hope you are together, good people. Now we come to 1.33, placement procedure. We go and look for placement procedure, and you can see E is the correct answer for placement procedure. As it says, linking the expectations of position and the competences of a new employee. So E is correct. E is correct to match what? This term placement procedure, because placement involves matching the requirements of position with the competences and abilities of newly appointed employee. So that is that. Now let us come to Unemployment Insurance Fund, UIF. So now we go for and look for the description that matches that term, UIF. And you can see that B is correct. As you know, UIF is a compulsory benefit that provides financial assistance to workers who lose their jobs due to illness. So B is correct. B is correct because UIF provides financial assistance to workers who lose their income due to unemployment, illness, maternity leave, adoption leave, all those things. So that is that. Now let us come to 1.35. 1.35 says total client or customer satisfaction. So we can go through this description and see which description do match that. And you can see I do match that. I matches total client or customer satisfaction. As it says, large business conduct market research to evaluate the needs of the buyers. So that is that I is correct. So total customer satisfaction requires business to conduct market research and understand customers' needs and expectations. So that is that. Now we are to move on to section B. We are to move on to section B. So here we are on section B. Here we are on section B. As it says, answer any 2 questions in this section, but we are going to attend all the questions. Note, clearly indicate the question number, each question that you choose, and the answer to each question must start on a new page. Question 2 on a new page, question 3 on a new page. Now, question 2, business environments. Business environments. So it says, name 4 pillars of the Broad-Based Black Economic Empowerment Act, that is EEE of 2003, Act 53 of 2003. So that is that. So now we can go to our answers and we can go to our answers for that question 2.1. So here we are on our answers. As it says, the pillars of Broad-Based Black Economic Empowerment Act. So the pillars of this BBEE is management control. So management control, meaning Black people participate in management and decision-making positions. So it means that Black people also must participate in management as well as decision-making position. For example, we can talk a Black manager is appointed as operation manager, or a Black director serves on the board of directors. That is that. Also, we have ownership with people. Ownership, Black people own shares in the business. That is what this act is all about. Allows Black people as well to have shares in businesses. For example, Black investors buy 40% of company shares, or employees receive ownership through a share scheme. That is that. Also, another pillar is enterprise and supplier development. That is ESG, whereby we are saying supporting Black-owned suppliers and small business. For example, funding a Black-owned startup or buying stock from Black-owned suppliers. That is that. The other pillar is skills development. So with this one, that is training and developing of employees. For example, paying or for workers' courses, offering leadership programs. That is that. Also, another pillar is socio-economic development, that or social responsibility. So with this one, we are saying helping communities improve their quality of life. For example, donating computers to schools, sponsoring community feeding schemes. That is that, good people. So now let us go to 2.2. 2.2 says outline the advantages of intensive strategies. Outline the advantages of intensive strategies. So now let us come to our answers for that question. As we are saying, advantages of intensive strategy. The first one is increase in sales or income and profitability due to variety of advertising campaigns. Meaning to say, increase sales and profits. Increase sales and profits. Increase sales and profits. More customers buy products because of what? Those variety of advertising campaigns. So that is the advantage that we are going to have, whereby our sales are going to be increased. We are going to enjoy the profits. So more customers buy products. So for example, advertising on TV, running online marketing campaigns is going to help us to increase sales and profits. Regular sales to existing customers may increase. Regular sales to existing customers may increase. So, meaning to say, current customers buy more often. So that is when you're talking about loyalty cards, special discounts for regular customers. Because when you're talking of intensive strategy, that is whereby you penetrate your existing market through advertising, through marketing and stuff. So that is done. Gain customer loyalty through effective promotion campaigns. So that is that you are going to gain loyalty. You're going to gain loyalty, customer loyalty, meaning customers keep supporting the business. Customers keep supporting the business. Improved service delivery may positively impact or increase sales. So meaning better service attracts customers. For example, faster deliveries, better customer support, that will improve, or that will attract more customers because of the service delivery that you give. Eliminate competitors and dominate market prices. So it means you gain stronger market position. When you eliminate competitors, you gain stronger market position. You can do that by lowering price than of competitors. You can do that by offering better product quality. So that is that. That's how you can eliminate competitors. And that's how you can dominate market. You can dominate market prices. So when you dominate market prices, that is when you lower prices than of those of competitors. Decrease in price could influence customers to buy more products. Lower prices increase purchases. Lower prices increases what? Purchases. Customers buy more because products are cheaper. So that is that. You can do buy one, get one free promotions. You can as well provide seasonal discounts. That is that. Business can have more control over the prices of products or services. Greater price control. Meaning to say business influence market prices. Being the biggest supplier or having unique product enables the business to focus on markets or well-researched quality products that satisfy the needs of consumers. So you focus on researched markets, products that are going to meet customer needs. Increased market share reduces the business vulnerability to actions of competitors. So here we're saying increased market share, that is where more customers choose your business. So that is that. So let us move on to another question. 2.3. Let us be on 2.3. 2.3 reads as follows. Read the scenario below and answer the questions that follow. Pentra Farming, PF. It says Pentra Farming supplies fresh milk to local customers. They added homemade cheese to their product range to increase sales to new customers. PF also opened petrol station to attract new customers. So the question now, identify two types of diversification strategy implemented by PF. Motivate your answer by quoting from the scenario. So we have types of diversification strategy, and then we have to give the motivation. So like we are to identify type of diversification strategy. We are going to have concentric. We are going to have concentric diversification. Diversification. Concentric diversification. Concentric diversification. Meaning to say new products related to existing ones. So once we are talking about this concentric diversification, we are saying new products related to existing products. So now we can quote from the scenario we can give the motivation in short. We can give the motivation where it talks about where new products that are related to existing products. As you can see now, we are going to talk about dairy farms that selling cheese. As they're saying, this is our dairy farm. It says Petra Farming supplies fresh milk to local customers. They added homemade cheese. homemade cheese to their product range to increase sales. So cheese is related to that fresh milk of those people. So hope we are together on that. So that is a motivation that we can give. We can come here and then say we can be here 2.3. Like we've said, is a constraint diversification. They added homemade cheese to their product range to increase sales to new customers. So the cheese is related to existing product. Existing product is what the fresh milk that was offered by that business. So that is that. Now we are also to give another type of diversification, which is conglomerate diversification. Conglomerate diversification. Conglomerate diversification. So with conglomerate diversification, that is when we are saying new products or services unrelated to existing products. They are unrelated, unlike concentric where they are related. With conglomerate diversification, new products or service unrelated to the existing products. Like now, it says PF also opened petrol station to attract new customers. Petrol station is unrelated to our existing product. It's unrelated to the milk, is unrelated to this milk that was sold to local customers. So that is that. That is what we are saying. It's conglomerate diversification. Because when you talk of conglomerate, we are saying new products versus existing products. New products or service unrelated to existing product. Like now we are opening a petrol station. Petrol is unrelated to the milk. So that is that. So that is where we are. We're saying it's conglomerate diversification. PF open petrol station to attract new customers. Hope we get to that. So now would people allow me to go to 2.4. 2.4. 2.4 says discuss the rights of the employers in terms of Labor Relations Act, LRA 1995, Act 66 of 1995. So the rights of employers. Rights of employers. So here we are, rights of employers in terms of Labor Relations Act, LRA. Employers have the right to, as it says, they have right to form employer organization or to present them in a labor-related matters. So it means they can form employer organization. They can form employer organization. Meaning to say employers join groups that protect their interest. So the employers, they're going to form group that protect their interest. So, for example, Chamber of Commerce, Employer Association, that is that when you're talking about that. Also form bargaining councils for collective bargaining purposes. So here we are saying they can negotiate working conditions collectively. Employers can negotiate working conditions collectively. For example, salary negotiations, industry wage agreements, and stuff. Also, the lockout employees who engage in a labor action or unprotected or illegal strike. So, meaning they can prevent workers from entering workplace during the disputes. So they can do factory lockout during strike or store closure during labor disputes. That is what they can do, or that is what this act allows them to do when it comes to their rights. Dismiss employees who engage in unprotected or illegal strike. So workers can lose jobs for unlawful actions. Employers have that right to dismiss them. So that is that. So that is what we're saying. They can dismiss employees who engage in unprotected illegal strike or misconduct, such as intimidation, violence during a strike action. Not pay or remunerate employees who have participated in a protected strike for services or work they did not do during the strike. No pay during strike. No work equals no pay. So workers absent due to strike. Employees refusing duties. So employers have right not to pay them. That is that. So now, good people, let us move on to 2.4. Let us move on to 2.4. 2.5, 2.4, 2.4. We did 2.4. Sorry. 2.5, sorry. We are to be on 2.5. 2.5 says, describe any two types of defensive strategy. Describe any two types of defensive strategy. So here we are, types of defensive strategy. So we have divestiture. We have divestiture. So when you're talking about divestiture, you're talking about disposing or selling some assets or divisions that are no longer profitable or productive. So selling parts of the business, that is that. You can sell a branch, you can sell unprofitable division, the division that is no longer productive, is no longer profitable. So that is that. Selling of divisions or product lines with slow growth potential. So that is that. Or you can decrease the number of shareholders by selling ownership. So we can sell the number of shareholders so as by selling the ownership. So that is that. That is when we can defend now. We can come up with a defensive strategy for a business so that it cannot close, it cannot go down. Also, you can pay off debts by selling unproductive assets. So you can cover up your debts by selling other assets that are no longer that productive. So as you cover up your debts. Withdrawing or divesting the investment share in another business. So that is that. So another strategy that you can go for is retrenchment. It's retrenchment. So with retrenchment, that is when you terminate the employment contracts, letting go of employees for operational, structural, restructuring reasons, reduce cost and expenses. So you reduce employee to cut the cost. So when you do that, you try to reduce employees to cut costs. That is that you lay off during the recession, closing department, that is that. Decreasing the number of product lines, closing certain departments may result in some workers become redundant. So that is that. Now let us come to liquidation as one of other strategies that we may use. Liquidation, that is when you are selling assets or bringing the business activities to an end due to inability to repay creditors or bankruptcy or lack of capital. So you are closing the business and you are selling the assets. So because of bankruptcy, you are going to sell all assets to pay off debts. So you sell the entire business in order to pay shareholders a fair price for their shares. Also, allowing directors to apply forced liquidation in order to have their claims settled. Companies in a financial distress or difficulty may appeal for business to rescue, avoid liquidation. So that is that. So now we are to move on to 2.6. We are to move on to 2.6. 2.6, read as follows. Read the scenario below and answer the questions that follow. It's about Buhle Architecture. Buhle Architecture pays monthly contributions to a common fund to protect workers in the event of workplace accidents. So Buhle Architecture also able to access other advantages when making these contributions. So 2.61, name the act applicable to BEA in the scenario above. Name the act that is applicable to Buhle Architecture in the scenario above. as it says, Bushe chapter pays monthly contributes to a common fund to protect workers in the event of workplace accidents. So once it says in the event of workplace accidents, it simply says the act that is applicable there is COIDA. That is COIDA. So we can now go to our answers. We can go to our answers for that question. So, like they've said, it's 2.6. That is 2.61 is what the Compensation for Occupational Injuries Diseases Amendment Act. That is COIDA. That is the one that do apply there. That is COIDA. So, like we've said, it's COIDA. Let us go to question 2.62. 2.62 says, explain now the advantages of the act identified in question 2.61 for the business. We are talking about the advantages of what? Of COIDA. So that is that. Now let us be on that question. So here we are on our answers. Here we are on our answers. Advantages of compensation for occupational injuries, diseases, amendment, act. So as it says, it promotes health and safety of employees, which reduces accidents in the workplace. So we are saying COIDA protects employees injured or sick because of work. That is that, for example, factory injury compensation for occupational diseases. Employees do not contribute toward this fund, which improves morale in the workplace. So the employees are not contributing toward this fund. Only employers do contribute. So hope you get it. As you are saying, employees, they themselves, they don't contribute towards this fund. So employers, they are the one who pays that fund. So all employees, meaning they just get these benefits free. Claiming processes are relatively simple, resulting in timeless payouts. So each claim process, for example, online claim submission, simplified documentation, that is that. It eliminates time and costs spent on lengthy civil court proceedings. So it saves costs. So it saves court costs. No lawsuit needed. Faster settlements. So we don't have to even to go to court. So that is that. Any compensation to an employee or the family is exempt from income tax. So compensation is a tax-free. So that is, for example, is just an injury payout, disability compensation. So that is that. Employers are protected from financial burden should an accident occur in the workplace, provided that the employer was not negligent. So that is that. Meaning to say, it protects employers financially. We are talking about this act. So the fund covers compensation. So also reduced legal expenses. So that is that. It makes business more socially responsible as they cannot just employ workers at random in dangerous working conditions. So meaning to say it encourages social responsibility, whereby we are going to make sure that the working conditions are better, the workplace is very safe. Workers are treated with dignity and respect as business view them as valuable assets, not just as workers. So treat workers fairly. Compensation after accidents. It shows that they are respected. Medical support. It shows that the workers are valued. Also, it covers all employees at the workplace if both parties meet all the necessary safety professions in the work. So covers all employees. So that is that. It creates a framework for acceptable employment practices and safety regulations. So it provides employment framework. So that is that. A supply administrative guidelines or mechanisms for dealing with or processing claims. So here we are talking about what? administrative guidelines. So that is that. Employees are compensated financially for an injury or disability resulting from performing their duties at their workplace. So that is that. Employees are going to be compensated financially for injury from performing their duties at the workplace. So in the event of death of an employee as a result of work-related accident, disease, his or her dependents will receive financial support. Dependents receive what? Support. So you'll find the widow is going to receive payment, children support benefits. Children are going to get that support. Employee receive medical assistance provided there is no other medical assistance option. Cannot claim medical assistance from the fund and medical aid. Medical expenses and other types of compensations are paid to the employees and or their families, depending on the type of severity of the injuries. So that is that when you're talking about medical assistance. Medical assistance. So now let us go to 2.7. Let us be on 2.7, as it says, advise business on the strategic management process. Advise business on the strategic management process. So here we are on strategic management process. Strategic management process, where we are going to have option 1 as well as option 2. So option 1, we said have clear vision or mission statement, measurable, realistic, objective in place. Meaning to say we are talking about vision and mission. We are talking about vision or mission. So meaning decide where the business wants to go. Decide where you want your business to go. For example, become a market leader, expand nationally. That's what we mean. Identify opportunities or weaknesses or strengths of threats by conducting environmental scanning or situational analysis. So study business environments. You study business environments. For example, we can make use of this tool, SWOT analysis. You can make of pestle analysis. That is how we can scan your environment. Tools available for environmental scanning may include SWOT analysis, Porter's 5 forces model, pestle analysis, industrial analysis tools. So these are the tools that you can make use of when you scan the environment. That is that. Then it says formulate alternative strategies to respond to challenges. So you formulate what? You formulate strategies. So we formulating alternative strategy. We are talking about plan the actions. That is, for example, when talk of growth strategy, retrenchment strategy, all those things. For this, what I'm explaining happens here in develop and action plans, including tasks to be done. So I was saying develop action plans, including tasks to be done, deadlines to be met, or resources to be poured. Also implement selected strategy by communicating it to all stakeholders, organizing business resources, or motivating staff. So you implement strategies, meaning put plans into actions. That is that. Continuously evaluate or monitor or measure strategies in order to take corrective action. So you evaluate and monitor. That is when you check what? You check the progress. That is that with people. So we also have option 2. So option 2, like the one that we did, they are more like the similar with option 1. So go through this option 2 as well. So now let us quickly go to question 3. So here we are on question 3, business operations. 3.1, name 2 components of job analysis. Name 2 components of job analysis. So that is that. So here our answers, components of job analysis is job description as well as job specification. Job description, we all know that is when you're talking about duties and responsibilities. That is when you're talking about duties and responsibilities. So that is that. For example, if your duties are to answer customer calls or prepare reports, those are your duties, those are your responsibilities. But with job specification, we're talking about qualifications and skills needed. We are talking about qualifications and skills needed. So that is that. So we have said job specification, like we've said qualification and skills needed. For example, we can talk of the qualifications like degree required or computer skills that are required. So that is that for question 3.1, the components of job analysis. Now let us go to 3.2. As it says, elaborate on the meaning of piecemeal as a salary determination method. So we elaborate on the meaning of piecemeal as a salary determination method. So here we are, as it says, workers are paid according to the number of items or units produced or action performed. So workers are paid per item produced. So it simply says workers are paid per item produced. Per item produced. So that is that, for example, 5 rand per shirt made or 10 rand per box pegged. So that is that. Also, workers are not remunerated for the number of hours worked, regardless of how long it takes them to make the items. So that is that they are not paid for the number of hours worked, but they are paid according to the number of items they've produced. Also, they are mostly used in factories or particularly in the textile or technology industries. So that is that. So now let us go to 3.3, where we are to read the scenario. As it says, read the scenario below and answer the questions that follow. So here we're talking about the ST, that is Shahem Technologies. So as it says, the Shahem Technologies gave Mark newly appointed employee. So a tour of the premises, competitive salary, and overview of the business. So the ST are reaping the business of induction in their business operations. So 3.31 now, as we are to answer the questions that follows, is that we are to name 2 aspects that ST included in their induction programs. So the aspects that are included in induction program in short. So that is that. So here are our answers for the aspects that are to be included in the induction program 3.31. So that is a tour of the premises. A tour of the premises, for example, you're going to show them offices, you're going to show factory floor, or you can talk of an overview of the business. So that is when you talk of the company history, company goals. So that is that in short. So now let us be on 3.32, where we are to explain the benefits of induction for businesses. Benefits of induction for businesses. So the benefits of induction for businesses allows new employees to settle in quickly and work effectively. So it allows new employees to settle quickly as well as to work effectively. So, for example, we talk of a faster adaptation. We can talk of better performance, like we're saying they are to work effectively. So also ensure that new employees understand the rules and restrictions in the business. So that is the understanding of rules. For example, attendance rules, you can talk of safety rules as well. So that is that. New employees may establish relationships with fellow employees at a different levels. So we're talking about building of relationships. So that is one of the benefit of induction. It builds a healthy relationship amongst the employees. So that is that. Make new employees feel at ease in the workplace, which reduces anxiety as well as insecurity or fear. So that is that. The results obtained during the induction process provide the base for focused training. They provide base for focused training. So basis for training, for example, you are going to be able to identify weaknesses. You are as well going to be able to plan the development. Also increases quality performance or productivity, which promotes effective use of working methods or resources. So as we are saying, it increases quality, performance. So once our performance is increased, it means now we are saying we are improving our productivity. So also minimize and decreases the need for ongoing training and employment. So it reduces future training. So less retraining as well as better understanding. Employees will be familiar with organizational structure, such as who are their supervisors or low-level managers. So you're going to understand the structure of the organization. You're going to know who are your managers. You're going to know the reporting lines. That is the benefit that comes with the induction. Opportunities are created for new employees to experience and explore different departments. So you understand other departments. You are going to be able to explore other departments. You're going to visit human resource manager. You're going to visit marketing department, purchasing department, financial department. Also, new employees will understand their role and responsibility concerning safety regulations and rules. So you are going to be able to understand safety responsibilities. For example, we can talk of emergency procedures or how you're going to handle the equipments. New employees will know the layout of the building, factory, offices, where everything is, which is saves production time. You know workplace layout. You're going to be able to know workplace layout. So that is that. So now let us move on. Let us move on to other points. You are as well going to learn more about the business so that new employees understand their roles or responsibilities in order to be more efficient. So you're going to understand your roles. You're going to understand your roles. Company policies regarding conduct or procedure, safety and security or employment contract conditions of employment or working hours or leave are going to be communicated. So the policies of organizations regarding safety are going to be openly communicated to the new employees or to the new recruits. Realistic expectations for new employees as well as the business are created. So that is that. New employees may feel part of the team, resulting in positive morale and motivation. So that is feel part of the team, where we are going to have team meetings, social introductions. That makes you to be part of the family, be part of the team. Employees may have better understanding of business policies regarding ethical, professional conduct or procedures, that is CSR. So that is that. Also, it reduces the staff turnover as new employees have been inducted properly. So any relevant answer related to benefits of induction for business are accepted. So that is that. So now we are to move on to 3.4. 3.4, we are asked to discuss now the selection procedure as a human resource activity. Selection procedure. Selection procedure. So we are going to have option 1 under selection procedure. As it says, determine fair assessment criteria on which selection will be based. So meaning to say you decide what quality or skills, qualifications candidates must have. For example, you talk of matric certificate required or minimum of 2 years experience required. That is how you determine a fair assessment criteria on which selection will be based. Applicants must submit their application forms or curriculum vitae or certified copies of personal documents or IDs or proof of qualifications. So you are to receive applications as well as CVs, meaning you collect documents from applicants. That is, for example, application forms submitted online or CVs emailed to HR, that is that. So they received documents according to their assessment of selection criteria. So meaning you organize applications according to the requirements. So that is when you are going to be able to separate qualified applicants, or you can group the applicants by experience level. Then now you screen or determine which applicants meet the minimum job requirements and separate this from the rest. That is when you do a screening now. Screen applications, meaning you remove applicants who do not meet the requirements. So that is whereby, for example, you will reject applicants without qualifications. So hope we are still together. You exclude the candidates lacking experience. That is how you are going to do the screening. Preliminary interviews are conducted. If many suitable applicants were received or to identify suitable applicants. So with preliminary interviews, that is where you make a short interviews to narrow down candidates. So you can do that just through telephone interview, online screening interview, that is that. Reference check now, that is, reference check should be made to verify the content of CV regarding work experience, criminal records, or as well as qualifications. Reference check, trying to verify information provided by applicants. Can do that by conducting previous employers, can verify their qualifications, compile short list of potential candidates identified. So you create a list of the best candidates. For example, you select top 5 applicants. You can choose candidates meeting all the requirements. That is that. So now the shortlisted candidates may be subject to various types of selection tests, such as skill test. So it means now you're going to assess candidates' abilities. You can do those tests, for example, typing test, aptitude test, that is that with people. Now you invite the shortlisted candidates for an interview. You invite candidates for an interview. That is that you meet candidates and ask them questions. So then after that, you inform unsuccessful, or after that, you do what? A written offer is made to this selected candidate. A written offer is made for selected candidate, meaning give the chosen candidate a job offer. Then you inform unsuccessful applicants about the outcome of their applications. Some advertisements indicate the deadline for informing only successful candidates. So inform those who are unsuccessful. So that is when you notify those who were not selected. Can email, can call them, that is that. So now we have another option, which is option 2. So now you are to go through this option 2 as is more the same as option 1. So now let us go to question 3.5. Question 3.5. 3.5, you are to outline the benefits of good quality management system. Benefits of good quality management system. So benefits of good quality management system is that effective customer service are rendered, resulting in increased customer satisfaction. Resulting in good customer satisfaction. So here it means we are talking about what? Better customer service. We are talking about better customer service, meaning customers receive quality service consistently. For example, you can talk of faster response to complaints, friendly customer support, that is that. Also, time and resources are used efficiently. Less wastage occurs. So it means now we're talking about efficient use of time and resources. So it means less waste occurs, reduce material wastage, faster production processes. Also, productivity increases through proper time management or using high quality resources. So it means now we're talking about increased productivity. Employees produce more output. More products are manufactured daily, faster service delivery. Products or services are constantly improved, resulting in increased levels of customer satisfaction. So here we're talking about continuous improvement. As we are saying, products and services keep getting better. Vision or mission or business goals may be achieved. So here we're talking about the achievement of business goals. Objectives are reached more easily. A business now has a competitive advantage over its rivals, over its competitors. So business perform better than competitors. That is when they come up with better product quality, or we can talk of superior customer service that can make business to have a competitive advantage. Regular training will continuously improve the quality of employee skills or knowledge or competences. So here we are talking about improved employee skills. So employees become more competent if their skills are improved. Employers and employees will have healthy working relationship, resulting in happy or productive workers or improved employees' moral or productivity. So better employer-employee relationship. Cooperation is going to be improved. That is one of the benefits of good quality management system. Increase market share or financial stability as more customers improve profitability. So many more customers choose the business. That is when we can say our market share is increased. You're going to gain new customers. You're going to have a repeat purchases. So that is that. Improve business image as there are less defects or returns. So the public trusts the business. Once you're talking about the business image that is going to be improved, it means now the public is going to trust what the business. So that is when you're going to have positive reviews, strong reputation. So that is that. So now we are to move on to 3.6. 3.6. So 3.6, it says, read the scenario below and answer the questions that follows. That is Bloom Enterprise, BE. Bloom Enterprise render transport service across the country. So the chief executive officer effectively communicates the shared vision and mission of the business with employees. BE also provides regular press releases to all stakeholders. Now you are to identify two business functions that contribute to Bloom Enterprise. Motivate your answer by quoting from the scenario. So that is that. So we are going to look at business functions and give the motivations from the scenario. So the first business function there is the general management function. General management function. General management function. As it says from, when you talk of general management function, before we can even quote from the scenario, general management function, this is whereby it's responsible for directing and controlling the entire business. Now let us quote from the scenario. It says from the scenario, CEO communicates vision and mission effectively. That is here, as it says, the chief executive CEO effectively communicates the shared vision and mission of the business with employees. So this is our motivation from the scenario. The second one is public relations function. Public relations function. Public relation functions maintains good relationship with stakeholders and the public. So from the scenario as we are asked to code, from the scenario that as we are asked to code, you can see that it says BEE also provide regular press releases to all stakeholders. So it means now that regular press releases are provided. So issuing media statements, managing public events, all those are the examples of public relation function. So hope we are together on that. Remember with this one, a general management function, we have said the CEO communicates a vision and mission. Vision and mission effectively. But from public relation function, that is where we are talking about regular press release. Regular press releases are provided. So they are provided, as it says, BE also provide regular press releases to all stakeholders. So that is that. We can go to our answers and see all those. Can go to our answers. And we can go to our answers for that question. So here it is, as we have said, a general management function from the scenario as it said, the chief executive officer, CEO, effectively communicates the shared vision and mission of the business with employees. Public relations function, BA, also provides regular press releases to all stakeholders. So that is that. Now let us go to 3.7. 3.7. 3.7, explain how business can apply the ACT step of PDCA model to improve the quality of products. So let's quickly go to our answers for that question. 3.7. 3.7. So here are our answers for 3.7. ACT step of the PDCA model. So ACT steps of PDCA model. So we know that P stands for plan, that is plan. And D, we know that is do. C, we know that is what? Check. And A is act. That is why we call it a PDCA model. So now we're talking about the X step of PDCA model. As it says, it institutionalized the improvement to meet the standards of the business. So it makes successful changes permanent. It makes successful changes permanent. So we can talk about, for example, adopt a new production method, implement a successful customer service process. So that is that when you talk of institutionalized improvements. So also it says devise strategies on how continually improve operational procedures. So you develop continuous improvement strategies, meaning you keep improving business process. For example, you can talk of monthly quality reviews, you can talk of employee improvement suggestions. So that is that. So if the change was successful, implement it on a wider scale. So you implement changes on a wider scale, meaning you apply successful changes throughout the business. For example, expand a successful system to all branches, or use improved procedures in every department. So that is that. So the business should continuously revise the process to identify and improve on shortcomings or until they get it right. So you revise processes continuously, regularly check or improve systems. So that is, for example, weekly inspections, performance evaluation, and stuff like that. So that is that with people. So now Let us attend to 3.8. So 3.8 says, evaluate the impact of adequate financing and capacity as total quality management, TQM element on large business. So now we can go to our answers on 3.8. So that is that. Remember, we are asked to give what? The impact of adequate financing and capacity as total quality management, TQ element. Positives, that's when you start with what? Advantages. Advantages. As it says, large business have sufficient financing to test everything before implementing. So here we're talking about sufficient financing for testing. So many business can test products before launching them because they have what? A strong financial. They are strong financially. So they cannot be afraid to test the product before they can launch it. So they can do product trials and stuff. They can afford to have system in place to prevent errors and in processes or defects in raw materials or products. So they can prevent errors and defects. Many system reduces what? Mistakes. So quality control, for example, quality control machines, inspections, systems, they can afford those because they are large businesses. Able to avoid product research or market researchers to gather information about products or customers. So large business can fund programs aimed at improving quality processes. Here we're talking about product research. Business can study customer needs. For example, customer surveys, market research studies, that. Large business can afford to purchase quality raw materials and equipment. Buy quality materials and equipment. Better resources, improve quality. So that is that. So now we can come to the negative of that. Negatives or disadvantages. Negatives or disadvantages. As it says, if the demand for a business product increases or orders begins coming in faster than expected, the business may lack the capital required to fund the production of the stock or to fill the orders. So here we're talking about insufficient capital during high demand. Business struggle to meet increased demand, unable to buy enough stock, delayed customer orders. That is that. If the demand for business product increases. So this rapidly growing business can consume large amounts of capital as they try to balance normal operations and expansions. So expansion consumes large amount of capital, meaning growth can become expensive. So opening new branches, purchasing additional equipment. So that is that. So now we are to move on to question 4. We are to move on to question 4, business environments. As it says, name any four forces of Portal. Name any 4 forces of Porter's 5 forces model. So that is that, and then here are our answers. Forces of Porter's 5 forces model. So we have bargaining power of suppliers or power of suppliers. So bargaining power of suppliers, it means suppliers can influence prices and supply. So, for example, you're talking about increasing raw material prices, limiting product supply. So that is that. Bargaining power of buyers or power of buyers. Bargaining power of buyers, meaning customers can influence price now, demanding discounts, buying from competitors because they have power as buyers. Threat or barriers to new entrants to the market. So here we say new business may enter the market. For example, new clothing store opens, new restaurant enters the area, that is that. Competitive rivalry or power of competitors. So meaning we're talking about competition among existing business. So that is where we can now come across the price wars, advertising battles and stuff. Threat of substitute or substitution, that is alternative products replace existing products. That is when the tea replaces coffee or streaming services replace DVDs. So that is that with people. So now let us be on 4.2. 4.2 say identify the business sector applicable to each statement below. So here are our statements. 4.21, Lerato manufacturers specialize in the production of various sports equipment. 4.22, Mountain Raiders sell sports equipment to different sports outlets. So we are asked to identify business sector applicable to each of these statements. So that is that the first one is what? Secondary sector, and the other one is tertiary sector. So let's see the scenario. Lerato manufacturers specialize in production of various sports equipment. So they manufacture. Once we are saying Lerato manufactures, it means that is a secondary sector because they convert raw materials into finished products. That is why we are saying that is secondary sector. But Mountain Raiders sell sports equipment to different sports outlets. So this one is a tertiary sector because they provide what? Services. Because they provide service, because they sell sports equipment to different sports outlets. So that is a tertiary sector. So that is that. 4.3, discuss the penalties of non-compliance with, we've said this one is tertiary sector. So 4.3, discuss the penalties for non-compliance with the Employment Equity Act, EEA of 1998, Act 55 of 1998. So now let's go to our answers, penalties. So like we've said, we are on penalties for non-compliance with Employment Equity Act. So as it says, business may face heavy fines for non-compliance. So we are talking about heavy fines. Business pays what? Penalties. So that is that, for example, labor law fines, employment equity fines, that is that. They can be ordered to pay compensation or damages to the employer for unfair discrimination. So here we're talking about compensation to employees. Many employees receive what? Damages. Employees receive damages. So they can be ordered to pay compensation or damage to the employees for unfair discrimination. So that is a discrimination compensation. Or you can talk of unfair treatment claims. Labor inspectors may conduct on-site visits or interview employees to determine whether the information supplied on the employment equity plans is true or has been falsified. So here we're talking about labor inspector investigations. Government checks compliance. So that is that, for example, you can talk of workplace inspection or employee interviews. Labor inspectors may investigate or ask questions about complaints which can create a bad image for the business. So compliance order. So we're talking about compliance order, official instructions to comply. So, this one is compliance order. That is the one that I'm talking about. Compliance order may be issued to business that do not comply with the EEA. Business may be brought before the labor court if compliance orders are not adhered to or no efforts made to reach targets. So that is that. Also, the Department of Labor may block non-compliant business from doing business with government or receiving government tenders. So that is that for 4.3. Now we are to go to 4.4. 4.4. 4.4 says advise business on the steps in the strategy evaluation. That is 4.4. Steps in strategy evaluation. The first one says examine the underlying basis of a business strategy. So meaning review reasons for the strategy. That is what it means. Review reasons for the strategy. For example, review market research, review customer needs. That is that. Second one, look forward and backward into the implementation process. So you evaluate past and future events. Like, for example, review previous results or forecast future performances. That is that. Compare the expected performance with the actual performance. meaning to say you check if goals were achieved, like sales target versus actual sales or budget versus actual spending. Determine the reasons for deviations and analyze these reasons. So you analyze deviations. That is whereby you find reasons for differences. For example, poor marketing, increased competition. Take corrective actions so that deviations may be corrected. So fix problems identified. For example, new marketing campaign, employee retraining. So that is that. Pause. The other one, set specific dates for control and follow up. Set specific dates for control and follow up. So meaning decide when reviews will occur. That is that. Then draw up table of the advantage and disadvantage for strategy. So you compare strengths and weaknesses by doing so. Decide on the desired outcome that will result in the achievement of business goals envisaged when strategies are implemented. So, meaning to say you decide on the desired outcomes, identify goals to achieve. Consider the impact of strategic implementation in the internal or external environments of the business. So you assess effects on the internal or external environments. So now we are to go to 4.5. Let us be on 4.5. 4.5 outline the legal requirements of an employment contract. Legal requirements of employment contract. So here we are on 4.5. Here we are on 4.5. Legal requirements of an employment contract. So as it says, the employer and employee or both parties must sign the contract. So meaning to say both parties must agree to the terms by signing. For example, employee signs appointment letter, employer signs employment agreement. Employer and employee must agree to any changes to the contract. So both parties must agree to changes, meaning contract terms cannot be changed without the consent from both sides. So employees agree to new working hours, or employer and employee agree to salary changes. That is that, for example. No party may unilaterally change aspects of the employment contract. So one party cannot change the contract alone. Employer cannot reduce salary without agreement. Employee cannot change working hours without approval. That is that. The remuneration package, including benefits, must clearly indicated. So the remuneration package must be clearly stated, meaning salary and benefits must be specified. That is that. The employment contract may not contain any requirements that are in conflict with Basic Conditions Employment Act, that is BCEA. So it must not conflict with the BCEA. Contract must follow the labor laws. Aspects of employment contract can be renegotiated during the course of employment. Contract can be renegotiated. Terms may be reviewed and changed legally. The employer must explain the terms and conditions of employment contract to the employee. So terms and conditions must be explained, meaning employee must understand the contract. That is that. Conditions of employment of duties, responsibility of the employees must be stipulated clearly. So duties and responsibility must be clear. Many employees' job role must be specified. All business policies and procedures or disciplinary rules can form part of the employment contract. So many company rules can be included. The employer must allow the employee to go thoroughly read through the contract before it is signed. So employee must be given time to read the contract. Employee should understand it before signing it. The employment contract should include code of conduct and code of ethics. So code of conduct and the ethics may be included. Expected behavior is stated. So that is that. So now let us go to 4.6. Let us attend to 4.6. 4.6 says, explain the impact of fringe benefits on business. Explain the impact of fringe benefits on business. So here are our answers for that. The impact of fringe benefits on business. Let's first start by positives or advantages. As it says, attractive fringe benefit packages may result in higher employee retention and reduces employee turnover. So you're talking about higher employee retention, meaning employees stay longer in the business because of, for example, pension fund benefits, medical aid benefits, that is that. So also it said attracts qualified, skilled, and or experienced employees who may be positively contribute towards the business goals and objectives. So as we have said, it attracts qualified or skilled, experienced employees. It means that better benefits attract talented workers. That is that. That is when you offer them housing allowances, company car benefit, all those things. They attract talented workers, competent employees. Improves productivity, resulting in higher profitability. So many employees work harder and better. That is when you give them performance bonuses, wellness programs, all those. It increases employee satisfaction or loyalty as they may be willing to go extra mile. So it increases employee satisfaction, loyalty. Many employees feel valued. Business save money as benefits are tax deductible. So tax benefits for business. Some benefits reduce taxable income. So fringe benefits can be used as a leverage for salary negotiations. So it can be useful during salary negotiations. Many benefits can compensate for lower salaries. So that is that. So now we come to the negative side of the fringe benefits, negatives or disadvantages. Negatives or disadvantages. As it is, business which cannot offer fringe benefits fail to attract skilled workers. So business may fail to attract skilled workers. Poor benefit package may make recruitment difficult. That is when you don't have any pension fund that you offer, no medical aid you're providing. So you're going to find yourself with those employees that are not skilled. Business which offer employees different benefit plans may create resentment, or employees who receive less benefit may not be motivated, resulting in lower productivity. Resentment among employees. Workers may feel unfairly treated if you offer different benefit plans. It can create conflict, lead to corruption if allocated unfairly. So meaning unfair allocation causes disputes. Like, for example, favoritism in benefit distribution, or managers giving benefits to their friends. So that can create conflict. Fringe benefits are additional costs, and that may result in cash flow problems. So many benefits increase expenses. Pay medical aid contributions, funding retirement plans, those are additional costs. So that is that. Let us move on. Also decreases business profits as incentives or package remuneration costs are higher. So more spending lowers profits. Administrative costs increase as benefits need to be correctly recorded for tax purposes. So increase administrative costs. Benefits require management and record keeping. You can talk of payroll administration, you can talk of tax reporting. So workers only stay with the business for fringe benefits and may not be committed or loyal to the task or business. So workers may not be committed to the business. They only stay only with the organization that offers them the benefits. Business have to pay advisors or attorneys to help them create benefit plans that comply with legislation. So that is the cost of professional advice. Experts may be needed, and then you have to pay them. Errors in a benefit plans may lead to costly lawsuits and regulatory fines. Errors can lead to lawsuits. Mistake may result in legal action. That is that. So now let us go to 4.7. 4.7. Let us be on 4.7. 4.7 says, read the scenario below and answer the questions that follow. That is Kimmel Manufacturer, KM. Kimmel Manufacturer implements total quality management, that is TQM, to reduce the cost of quality. The production manager works closely with suppliers to improve the standards of raw material. KM monitors their maintenance programs on regular basis to prevent the breakdown of equipment. They also provide annual bonuses to employees who meet their sales targets. That is that. So now, the question says, quote 2 ways in which total quality management reduces the cost of quality at KM from the scenario above. From the scenario, they improve standards of raw materials. They improve standards of raw materials. This is what I'm talking about. They improve standards of materials. That is how they reduce costs of quality management. Like we are asked to quote from the scenario. Improve standards of raw material, meaning better inputs, reduce defects. So we are saying they improve the standards of raw materials. That is that. That is the first quote that we can say is what is how or is the way which total quality management reduces cost of quality. Once they improve the standard of raw material, it means that better inputs reduces what defects. That is the first one. The second one, they do what? Regular maintenance of equipment. Regular maintenance of equipment. Regular maintenance of equipment. So, as they say, K monitors and maintains programs on regular basis to prevent the breakdown of the equipment. So that is that. So they service their machinery monthly. They replace worn parts. So we can come to our answers and see how it was answers. Ways in which total quality management can reduce the cost of quality. So we have said the production manager works closely with suppliers to improve the standards of raw material. This is what we have talked about that. That reduces what the defects. Also, they monitors their performance. They monitors their maintenance of programs on regular basis to prevent the breakdown of equipment. Like I've said, they service their machinery monthly. They replace the worn parts. So that is how they can reduce the cost of quality from the scenario that we've just talked about. So now let us go to 4.7. 4.72. Discuss other ways in which quality management can reduce the cost of quality. Other ways that they can reduce cost of quality. So that is that. So here we are. Other ways in which total quality management can reduce the cost of quality. As it says, introduce quality cycle to discuss ways of improving the quality of work or workmanship. So many employees discuss quality improvements like weekly quality meetings, problem-solving teams, that is that. Also schedule activities to eliminate duplication of tasks. So meaning avoid wasting time and resources. Production timetables, maintenance schedules. Also share responsibility for quality output amongst the management and workers. So everyone contributes to quality. Workers inspect products, supervisors monitor standards. Train employees at all levels so that everyone understands their roles in quality management. So staff learn how to maintain quality control training, customer service workshops, have those. Develop work systems that empower employees to find new ways to improve in quality, meaning improve processes and procedures. Improve communication about quality challenges or deviations so that everyone can learn from experience. So you do that by trying by all means that you improve what as it says, improve communication. So meaning quality problems are shared and solved quickly. Reduce investment on expensive but ineffective inspection procedures in the production process. So you reduce in expensive inspections, meaning prevent defects instead of finding them later. So that is that. So now let us be on question 4.8. Let us be on 4.8. 4.8 says, advise businesses on how the quality of performance of the administration function can contribute to the success of the business. So that is that. Let us attend to it. 4.8. How the quality performance of the administration function can contribute to the success of the business. As it says, fast and reliable data capturing and processing system. Many information is processed accurately and quickly. For example, computerized record system or barcode scanning. Make reliable information available to management on time. So information available on time, meaning managers receive reports when needed. You can talk of monthly sales reports, daily production reports. Make relevant information available for quick decision making. So quick decision making, meaning accurate information help managers act fast. Handle complaints quickly and effectively. So customer issues are solved promptly. That is that. Use modern technology efficiently. That is, technology improves business operations. You can talk of cloud storage system, you can talk of accounting software. Implement effective risk management policies to minimize the business losses. So that is that. When you implement effective risk management, that is where you reduce chances of what? Of losses. You can make use of data backups, cybersecurity systems. Quality assurance or control evaluation is recorded accurately. So quality information is properly documented. All documentation is kept neatly and orderly in a safe place. Keep documents safe and organized. Information can be found easily. Easy to recall and find information or documentation. Easy retrieval of information, like records can be accessed quickly. Financial documents are kept up to date and recorded accurately. So financial records are accurate and current. All systems and processes are documented. So systems and processes are documented, meaning procedures are written down for consistency. That is when you can talk of operations manuals, you can talk of procedure guides. So that is that. So this is the end of presentation. Thank you very much for your time. Make sure that you share with others. Thank you.